In this lesson, we're going to continue changing the subject of a formula, but look at mainly division-based formulas where we have to sort out some things. Now, we'll start with simple ones and then move on to more complicated ones. Okay, let's look at this idea first. We've got the left-hand side here with x over 2 and the right-hand side with 5. Now remember, the subject is always to be left on the left-hand side on its own and everything else on the right-hand side of the equal sign. So the subject is x. Now again, I have to remember an undoing process. If I'm trying to move something to the other side, I have to do the opposite of what's happened to it on that particular side. In this case, x is divided by 2. So dividing by 2, if we move that to the other side, that's going to become times by 2. So it's going to look like that. You could write 5 times 2 or 2 times 5. It doesn't really matter. And I suppose in this case it's a bit of a strange one because you can actually answer it. But in the rest will be just moving about formulas. Okay, this one over here. A similar idea to the first one, however, the subject is on the bottom here, which does create a problem, and it's also on the right hand side. I want the subject to be on the left hand side because I want it to end up like this. Now there's a good way to get this to the other side, and because t is in the bottom and it's been divided, r's been divided by t, and that's to move it across by doing the opposite of division by t, which is multiplying by t. So that's a good way to get it. When it's on the bottom of one side, to get it on the other side is to multiply by it. Now to finish off, to get t on its own, I need to do the opposite of timesing by s, which is dividing by s. Now you are okay to write r divided by s instead of r over s, that's also alright. Okay, two more slightly harder examples here. So I've got n over m equals d over c. So straight away, n's on the left hand side, which is good, but it's been divided, we're dividing by m here, so I want to do the opposite of dividing by m, which is timesing by m. Now you could leave it like that, however it's a wee bit clumsy looking, and I would rather you left it like this, and I'll show you why. If you think of a half times 3, then that's 3 over 2. The reason that's 3 over 2 is because when you're multiplying, you're really multiplying by 3 over 1, so it's 3 times 1 over 2 times 1 in the bottom. So when you're multiplying like a fraction by a whole number, if you like, you really just multiply the top because the bottom gets multiplied by 1. So you can think of the same idea here. It's kind of like m over 1, so 1 times c in the bottom and then m times d on the top. And that's just a neater and tidier way of leaving your formula. With the next one, when you've got this kind of confusing thing going on, and you could do this for this one as well, it just makes it more tricky if you like. I'm going to show you this technique called cross multiplying. Now what you can do is, you can actually multiply up by the 3a and multiply up by the m at the same time. This comes up in other areas of maths as well. Good technique to be able to do. So 3a times n is just 3an. And at the same time, times up by the m, and you get rid of the fractions that way. Now what this has allowed me to do is get the subject on the left hand side, what I want, and everything, well, and other things on the right hand side, and I've got rid of the fractions. There's one more thing to do, because I want a on its own. Now I've seen people doing this before. They divide by 3 first, and then they get a fraction, and then they divide by n and they get a bit confused. You can actually divide by all of that at the same time. So you can divide by 3n if you like. Oh, I don't have that there, I'll just put it in. So there's an n here as well. So you can divide by all of the 3 and the n at the same time, and your formula is left like that. Okay, let's finish off this lesson by looking at more divisions, but again, slightly more complicated looking ones. So this one, for example, at the start, x plus 3 all over 2 equals 5. Okay, the subject's on the left hand side, which is a good start, but I'm dividing everything by 2, so I kind of want rid of that there. So I'm going to multiply by 2. So you'll get x plus 3 equals 10. And then if you want to finish that off, take away the 3 and you'll get 7. And you can check this one, it works. 7 add 3 makes 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. It works out okay. Let's try the same idea with mainly just letters. So similar technique. Try and get rid of the divide by v first. So do the opposite. To get the v to the other side, you need to multiply. Now you can write n times v or v times n. It means the same thing as this. And to finish off, I need x on its own. So what's the opposite of take away 5? Well, it's add 5. And you're finished. Okay, 2 more to go. Right, I've got x plus y over b equals a. Again, I don't really want to divide by b here, so I want to multiply by the b. So that leaves me with x plus y equals ba or ab, doesn't really matter which way around. And to finish it off, I don't want the plus y, so I want to take it away. Now in this one, e equals r plus x all over d. You can see there the subject is on the right hand side. I don't really want it on the right hand side, I want to make it look like this. So all I'm going to do is make the right hand side the left hand side and the left hand side the right hand side. Just like that. Again, this is absolutely fine to do and we did it in the previous lessons. Then it just becomes very similar. You're dividing this side by d, so do the opposite. Take the d over the other side and multiply. And finish it off by taking away the r. I know the r is at the front, but it's still been added. So the opposite of add r is take away r. And you're done.